A good Friday evening to you, and welcome to the snowy start to our weekend. We have snow falling. This is a live view from Dandridge, the Dandridge dock. This is our live camera over Douglas Lake, and you can see the snow picking up. The dock is covered. We've been watching this for, well, about the last hour and a half or so as those snowfall rates have continued to pick up, expanding across the region. And in Knoxville, we're now below freezing at 30 degrees. We got up to an upper 30s, so some of the snow initially not sticking on some of the roads yet, and some of them are wet. Actually, guess what? It'd almost be better if it was not wet and even colder and everything sticking, because when you get wet, and now we're below freezing, we're heading down into the upper teens tonight. So any wetness from initially melting snow, not for long, it's going to freeze. We'll have an icy layer underneath, and roads are expected to be hazardous and treacherous, the roads that are untreated as we go through tonight. So snow starting to pick up. Time to make plans to get off the roads, especially as we go through this evening with hazardous travel conditions likely. Okay, thank you for joining us. It's Friday. The winter storm system's here. We got snow and bitterly cold temperatures heading our way. We'll talk about both of those impacts for tonight into tomorrow coming right up. We got a lot of different details to get to, but we'll go ahead and get to it. I respect your time, and I appreciate you joining us. The other thing we got to focus on later this weekend, pipes. Could have some pipes freezing with sustained cold, may stay below. We're actually below freezing now, so here we go. Let's see, what time is that? 7:30. So we're going to probably stay below freezing until about 3 p.m., maybe 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. So we've got an extended stretch of below freezing temperatures and bitterly cold air. Let me start you off with some other camera views. Again, this is Dandridge and the Douglas Lake camera. That's coming down pretty good. Let me show you what it looks like from Covenant Health Park and kind of see. Let me take it full. You can get the full effect of that. That's the snow globe effect. Here, I'll show you Dandridge again. One of the things I love about the streams is we're not bound by time like we're on TV. You usually get 3 minutes or less. That's tough, especially on events like this. I love these. Sit back, relax, grab you a cup of coffee, a hot chocolate, and let's get to work and talk about the details here. So again, that's Dandridge. Just wanted to show you in full so you can see the effects of that. Look at, you see the wind? That's another issue. So it's going to be snowy, but it's going to be bitterly cold tonight and tomorrow. Sunday may be the better play day, because tomorrow is going to be frigid to get the kiddos out and playing it, and got to bundle yourselves up as well. We'll talk more about that. There's that snow globe effect. That's a current live look at Covenant Health Park and Smokies Park there. And again, not a whole lot of wind falling there, but we do have some breezy winds that will be increasing later tonight and tomorrow. Let's take you to our downtown camera. Now, again, if we just showed you our regular view, you couldn't really see much because the visibilities are kind of low. It just looks like it's, just snow in the distance. But a couple things to point out here. Number one, the main street is still wet here, right here. So, and I don't know if that's been treated or not. Maybe it hasn't. Starting to see a little bit of snow sticking here. If you look up here on the parking lot, that's where a paved surface, so we're starting to see it stick there. And some of these areas are probably stay in the shade. They don't retain as much heat, so that's probably what's going on there. But still a little wetness on the road, but not for long. Again, we're going to be the 20s soon and dropping. You can see the rooftops and the cars are all snow covered. Okay, that's what it looks like from our downtown Knoxville camera. And this is, look at our tower camera. I've zoomed on in. This is North Knoxville. This is our Sharps Ridge Tower camera. And we're looking down in the neighborhoods of North Knoxville. And we're looking also, it looks like we got the snow. We got a little bit of snow cover on the sides of the road. Still, the main roads are still a little wet. But again, that's the issue. They're a little wet, and temperatures are dropping below freezing. So that's going to become ice if these roads are not treated. Then they may be treated. And Chickamauga, Lincoln Avenue, some of those areas, Lincoln Park, I should say, area, they may be treated. If they are, hopefully they'll be fine for a while. By the way, when I say treated, the brine solution that TDOT and the city of Knoxville put down, that works initially and up to a certain temperature. But once you get well down to the 20s and especially teens, it becomes less effective. So I have to do retreatment and different types of treatment. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. So initially, some of these treated roads may be okay, but even overnight and tomorrow with more snow, actually it's going to pick up overnight and into tomorrow morning, especially the eastern half of our region. And that's where we're going to see more treacherous roads developing. So if you don't have to be out and about driving this evening, and especially overnight tonight, tomorrow morning, it's advised not to. All right, so that's the particulars of what we're looking at. We'll take it back to our Dandridge camera, Douglas Lake, and let's move forward with what we're seeing right now. So again, that's a look at Douglas Lake with the snow falling 30 degrees in Knoxville. We've got a wind chill of 22. Winds are out of the north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. So we have a northerly wind bringing in fresh, cold Arctic air with the snow. So the two are coming in together. And so again, the ground's been cold. We've been chilly to cold all week long. Generally, our temperatures have been in the 30s. We've had those overnight lows in the teens and 20s. So it's kind of a favorable setup for accumulating snowfall. And it's just a matter of how much now and how long. So the amounts and duration, those are the two key factors, but we got the snow. So we'll get right to those amounts forecast in just a second. Pressure rising, just a side note on there. Here's what we're looking at for the next 3 days. Weather impact alert will be in place throughout the weekend into Monday morning. So look at our temps, first of all. 18 for a low tonight, 20 for a high tomorrow. Technically, the high will be just before or just after midnight tonight. But anyway, that's a side note. It's a midnight to midnight reading. 9 degrees Saturday night, Sunday morning. Bitterly cold. Winds are going to give us below zero wind chills at times. Even during the day Saturday, we could be near zero. So in terms of going out, playing in the snow, and you got to really bundle up. We're talking about our wind chills from 5 above to 5 degrees below zero in Knoxville during the day tomorrow. And even below zero wind chills tomorrow night with those single-digit lows. So that's why we're going to have we have the impact extreme cold conditions. This is kind of rare. Definitely the coldest air by far of this winter season, surpassing last weekend. So 26 on Sunday, but Sunday looks to be dry with a little bit more sunshine. Very cold, not quite as windy. So it may be a better day to get out, play in the snow, and enjoy it. Whatever falls is not going anywhere, especially on the grass and the ground, but maybe even on the streets. So, and we'll talk more about those amounts in a moment, but Sunday may be the better day to enjoy the snow. And here's another look at Monday morning, 9 degrees, another frigid night. And so we'll need to drip the faucets. Not so much tonight. It's tomorrow night. As we get into our Saturday night, Sunday morning, and again Sunday night, because we're going to be below freezing all the way to Monday afternoon. About 2 p.m., 2:30 or so, we should get above freezing with a high around 37. So those sustained days below freezing and frigid nights could bust some pipes. So just to kind of recap, our weather impact alert is for tonight through Monday morning. We got light to moderate snow tonight through Saturday morning. The snow is going to end by late morning, early afternoon Saturday, generally around lunchtime Saturday, midday. And afternoon Saturday, the snow is going to pull away. It's going to go to the eastern Carolinas where blizzard conditions are in the forecast. It's going to snow on the beaches in the eastern Carolinas. How about that? My home state of South Carolina, it looks like the whole state's getting snow. That's a rarity. And the same for North Carolina. The whole state's going to get snow. So even the beaches and coast areas. So we'll talk more about that storm in a minute. But our snow will be ending Saturday afternoon. Maybe a few lingering light snow in the mountains, but maybe a few flurries, but otherwise drier. So then again, don't recommend driving tonight or especially overnight and in the morning. It's particularly while it's snowing and picking up tonight and tomorrow morning. Stay off the roads if you can. Travel will become hazardous. Even those treated roads could develop that thin layer of snow and ice because they have to be retreated later on. So use caution. Our neighborhood roads, and I just texted my wife, Lee, a moment ago, said, how's our driveway looking? How's the road out in front of our house? And I can use that as a barometer in general, and said the road's still fine, but the driveway's partially covered. And so that's the first phase. The sidewalks, the steps, the driveways get covered first, and then the main roads. Main roads hold more heat, and eventually, they get cold and will freeze over. So that's what we're looking at. You got to bundle up if you go out and about. Dress warmly, multiple layers, at least 2 or 3 layers with a big coat on top. As many layers as you can comfortably wear, and it cover your exposed skin if you have to get out and about tonight or tomorrow. It's the type of bitterly cold that we have an extreme impact, and that we don't say that lightly, but when we're talking about, low temperatures, highs in the teens with below zero wind chills, and temperatures getting down to the single digits, near zero at night. Once now we're going to have snow on the ground. Those temperatures I showed you could be slightly colder than that. We're taking that into account. We'll see. It's all about the wind and the clear skies, but we could easily be colder than that 9 degrees. So those frigid temperatures, that's why we have the impact for cold and extreme level, and for the high impact for travel on the roads, and the higher impact for accumulating snow, which is likely area-wide. and those two kind of go together, the snow and the travel impact. So that's for tonight through at least most of our Saturday. And whatever falls, not expected to melt anytime soon. So the more snow we get, that will play a role into how long, obviously, we have to deal with it, but also the impacts on our roads for future nights and mornings and the whole thaw, refreeze. So we'll talk more about that. Okay, like we've been talking about pretty much all week long, the eastern half of our region, which encompasses Knoxville to the east and the winter storm warning areas, the eastern half of our region, more snow is likely. That's where more of the accumulated snow is expected to be, the eastern half of East Tennessee. You can almost draw a line, again, right down through the middle part of East Tennessee, including Knoxville. To the right of that line or east of that line, generally Knoxville east, more snow. Knoxville west, you're still going to see snow, just less amounts. Regardless of amounts, though, the impacts are still expected to be high. So that's the messaging we want to get across. It's expected to be probably about an inch or two. Some areas could get a 3. You could get a few 3-inch amounts, particularly on parts of the plateau, but it's more of a duration thing. It's definitely not topography, right? A lot of times we're talking about the plateau gets the most, so it's not that. It's the western edge. We're going to just be in the snow a little bit longer across the eastern areas before it pulls out later Saturday. So that's what's going on. It's just less, it's a duration thing. So winter weather advisory for low end snow amounts of 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3 inches in some areas in the purple areas. And again, you can see that does include La Follette, Oak Ridge, Clinton, Kingston, and also down towards Spring City and on up into Kentucky. Winter storm warning, it does include Harlan County, Kentucky, Lee County, Virginia, but this includes Tazewell and Claiborne County, Maynardville and Union County, Knoxville and Knox County, Lenoir City, Loudoun, Philadelphia, and Loudoun County, and it does include Monroe County, including Sweetwater, Madisonville, and Von Orr, and over to Greenback, of course, in Loudoun County, but it does include, and then Blount, Sevier, and the rest of our counties to the east. Now, I'm going to show you the snowfall map. So that winter storm warning, by the way, this is tonight through Saturday evening. Even once the snow ends, the impacts will remain. So travel, not recommended. Here's why. Because we're talking about the wind, the cold, and here's the potential snowfall amounts that we could see. Again, we're bringing those totals up. And the reason I wanted to show the snowfall map right after the winter weather alerts, they kind of match up. They kind of go hand in hand. So here's what we're looking at. 1 to 2 inches possible up on the Cumberland Plateau, including Crossville, Wartburg, Huntsville, and Jamestown. And by the way, here's a perfect example. It doesn't take, too much snow to have impact. This was earlier by late afternoon. We got a report from Oneida that the ground was covered, and it hadn't been snowing overly long, but you're on the plateau, you're going to get your snow. Even if it's just lower amounts, it's going to be impactful. So use caution driving anywhere in our viewing area. Again, sometimes a little bit of snow is actually worse than a lot of snow because you don't get as much traction. Your tires are close to the pavement, and that thin layer of snow, that's extra slippery. Actually, the more snow you get, you get a little bit more traction. We don't want you to be out driving in it, though, but it becomes more hazardous, and equally as much so, even if you have just a little bit of snow. So, in the valley, 2 to 5 inches for the Knoxville area. Let's spend a little time talking about that. Again, that dividing line between that winter storm warning and winter weather advisory, almost from north to south, kind of like northeast to southwest. You can kind of see the contour. See this shade of blue right here? Let me take it full. See it better, and I'll illustrate it. So you see that shade of blue right there. Again, this kind of represents that more of that greater than 3-inch snowfall amounts, basically 3, 4, 5 inches in this shade right here. We've got a 2 to 4. We have a range because it's not perfect. It's modeling, and earlier models have been showing lighter amounts close to parts of Central Valley, including Loudoun and parts of Knox County. It may be lighter amounts. So there could be. Let's just say, for example, we've got a 2 to 5 inch range. We could be looking at amounts around 2 inches, close to it, let's just say along the Knox-Anderson County line, for example. You may get more than that, may get less than that, but let's say it's around 2. You come on into Knoxville, it could be, 3 or 4, but at least it may be 2 to 4, for example. But if you get east of Knoxville, that's why we have a 5. And I'll be honest, it could be 6 on the Knox-Jefferson County line. See this shade of blue? That's when we're getting in more of the 6-inch range plus. So we've got a range because it's weather, and snowfall rate amounts can vary, as we all know. But 4 to 7 inches is likely in this shade, and that includes Morristown, Greenville, Dandridge, Jefferson City, Newport, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Kodak, all of Sevier County, most of Jefferson County, all of Cocke, most of Hamlin County. If I didn't say Morristown, I should have. I think I did. And Greenville and Greene County, and all of Greene County basically. Again, Sevier County and much of Blount County is in this 5 to 7 inch range. So what we're looking at is the duration and the lift. It's both. Longer duration of snow and greater intensity snowfall rate. So all you have to do is just go a little bit east of Knoxville, and even Strawberry Plains in East Knox County could be looking at a 5-inch snowfall, for example, and maybe a couple of inches, but impactful, closer to Oak Ridge and Hart Valley, for example. Again, it could be more than the 2 inch. I was kind of using that example, but that's kind of that range. Again, that low end, it may end up being more than that. It may be at least 3 in some areas. We use a range, just using wisdom, because that back edge, it may oscillate a little bit, but we feel like that's a pretty good range for most of the valley area, that 2 to 5 inches. I know that's a wide range, but that's that gradient. There's going to be a sharp gradient and cutoff from west to east, so that's why we have that. And then varying amounts, but I tell you what, the higher amounts look more likely in some of our eastern areas because it's going to snow longer and snow harder. Look at this though, as you work your way toward the foothills and mountains, look at the mountains, 6 to 12 inches plus, and over a foot is probably likely in the higher peaks because it's going to snow more the day on Saturday and continue along the North Carolina line. And then 2 to 4 inches in Monroe County. So here's the messaging. If you live in Maryville and south and toward Townsend, Wares Valley, 5 to 7 inches plus. Close to that in Maryville, but particularly just south of it. If you live in Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, 5 to 7 inches plus. Maybe more, the plus. Again, maybe more than that 7 inches. And if you're in Dandridge, the Lakeway area, Dandridge, Morristown, you're going to get it looks like at least 4 to 7 inches is likely. Newport, Greenville, again, same zone there. And then, of course, the mountains, it gets higher. If I didn't mention your area, La Follette, you're in the 1 to 2, close to it. It could be 1 to 3 in these areas. Again, there's going to be some spotty 2 to 3 inch mounts when you get on these higher elevations, I feel. But it's just the wider area, the lighter mounts to the west and the heavier mounts, eastern half of our region. Okay, so hopefully we all have that down pat in terms of the expectations. And again, that's what it looks like right now. And most of our modeling has been showing that general, well, I'll be honest, most of them are showing a little bit more of the higher half of that range. Most of them give us at least 3, almost, but you know, we're west part, we see that line that may oscillate a little bit. That's why we have that open range, so I just want to share full transparency what we do when we're forecasting. We're looking at all kinds of data and then trying to come up with that forecast to hone it all in. Okay, that's the snowfall, and I'll get more to a few more maps in a moment, and then we'll wind down. Cold weather alerts. Let's talk about the cold right now. This is the serious part of this storm. Snow's the fun part, right? You like to go out and play in it. If you go out tomorrow, you're going to have to wake up and deal with this. Wind chills of 5 degrees above zero to 5 degrees below zero, pretty much all day long. At times, our wind chills will be hovering just above or just below zero in the valley and all the areas. So this isn't just a higher terrain. Well, it is a little bit because it's going to be very cold in the mountains, but anywhere, generally Plateau Valley and elsewhere, we've got wind chills at or below zero at times. In the mountains, extreme cold warning for Tennessee and North Carolina. This is the very serious part of the cold. Wind chills as low as 20 degrees below zero. And here's why we say we put it at an extreme impact. Again, there's a reason. That's some serious cold. You stay out in these conditions with not properly clothed or covering your exposed skin, that could lead to frostbite and hypothermia after a period of time. So that's why we're making sure that everybody is taking this part seriously and bundled up. Make sure you have a safe heating source, okay? And check on your neighbors, your family, your friends. Make sure everybody's warm, has warm clothes, is well fed, and is taken care of. And don't get out on the roads and drive in it if you don't have to. And if you have to, recommend either all-wheel drive vehicle or four-wheel drive. This is if you have to, and hopefully on a treated road. Front-wheel drive is better. Rear-wheel drive is the worst. You have to put a lot of weight in it, but you don't really want to. You try to avoid that. But we don't recommend getting out on the roads. We advise not to travel if you don't have to, okay? Because hazardous travel conditions are likely, and that cold weather to boot. That's the other thing. It's frigid tonight, tomorrow, sit inside, enjoy the snow. Hot chocolate, coffee, play board games, watch a movie. Just to have it's a snow day. And it's the weekend. That's kind of the good timing. John Becker reminded me that, hey, couldn't pick better timing. It's Friday night. Hopefully you don't have to worry about work tomorrow. You don't have to worry about school. It's obviously Saturday. So hopefully you can relax and enjoy a snow day in East Tennessee, but it's going to be frigid. So there's our forecast wind chills. Tomorrow morning, 4, this is just at 7 a.m., 0 in Wartburg, 5 below from Crossville to Jamestown. And then those wind chills, they stay generally in the single digits, the model forecast. And I think it's that cold, or at least that cold. Sunday morning, frigid. Now the good news Sunday, well, still frigid in the 20s. Dry, partial clearing, and not quite as windy. Anticipating a lot of things will probably be closed if we're getting the snow, assuming that sticks a lot of the roads, et cetera. So we'll keep you updated on that. Don't want to assume anything, obviously, but we'll keep you updated on that. Okay, here's what we're looking at as far as dressing for cold weather. We're kind of having fun with this earlier. Chilly, well, we're way past that. That was last week before the other storm. Cold, we're past that. I'm just going to cover that. Here's what we need to do, seriously though. You need to be like this young gal right here. They got 3 layers and then a big coat on top of that. Gloves, warm hat, cover your face, again, boots, and waterproof. Now the good news about this snow, just to mention that real quick, it is a drier, more fluffy snow eventually. Now I tell you what, right now initially it was starting out a little bit of a wetter snow because our temperatures were still just above freezing, then lower. But the rest of the way, it's going to be a drier snow. So you actually have a little icy layer on the bottom, and then you're going to have a drier layer of snow and those layers up. So it's still going to be a little wet on the bottom, but as far as that, it's not going to be a wet snow. It's a really dry snow. So if you want to make a snowball or snowman, you may want to dig down a little bit to that initial layer that have a little bit more moisture. Okay, that's a look at the extreme cold. Some camera views to look at. This is Cookeville in Putnam County. We were looking at that earlier. Let me go back to that. Was that? Most everything's covered. Pavement, sidewalk, yeah, that's covered. So it's still snowing pretty good. You can see the buildings covered. This is on the campus of Tennessee Tech. So just wanted to show you that view. These are the temps, 30 degrees. Are we everybody below freezing? Almost. So there, pick out your city, or if you live close to these areas, it's dropping below freezing. Let me show you the current wind chill. Give me a half second to go find it because I rearranged my maps from earlier, but this is the other story. Here it is right here. With the wind blowing, these are the current wind chills. Well, still in the 20s, but look at the wind chill in Jamestown, 10, 11 in Williamsburg. So there comes the cold, breezy winds in addition to the snow. Okay, so back to our temperatures. Again, we're below freezing right now. Here's what I wanted to get across as far as the temperatures. Our lows tonight going from 30 now to 18, and then 10 in Crossville for the air temperature. Not even the wind chill, much lower, the air temperature. And look at the highs tomorrow, 20. 18 to 20. If that, our high will actually probably just after midnight. It's a midnight to midnight reading, but will likely be falling. All right, so that's a look at our 12-hour forecast. Pretty much snow at every 2 hours. We got it at a 2-hour time frame. So we're looking at snow showers off and on that will likely continue tonight into tomorrow. One other point to mention, I mentioned dry, fluffy snow, and the duration of snow is a factor. It's a higher liquid to snow ratio with that fluffy snow. So yeah, we were looking at amounts. It could be higher than that range, possibly, because it's going to add up once we get that drier, fluffy snow kicking in. So that's on the table. And so we're going to, obviously we'll be watching that throughout the evening. We're going to get more model data in. So check back in, Fox 43 at 10 and Channel 10 at 11. And if we feel like that needs to be bumped up or, go higher, we'll adjust accordingly. Or do we need to go down? We'll adjust accordingly. But that's what it looks like right now. But just letting you know that it could overperform a little bit because of that cold Arctic air and that higher liquid to snow ratio. That is possible. So here's the developing storm. Again, it's just starting to form and get its act together. All this was expected though because the main upper low is back to our west still, and that's going to pivot right about like this, right through our region. And once the axis gets just south of us, later by midday tomorrow and afternoon, once that gets east of us, it's going to kind of grab the snow and take it with it. But that's not going to happen until later tomorrow morning into the afternoon Saturday. It will continue the mountains. So let's walk through our radar. So here's what we're seeing right now. And we've got where you see the light to moderate snow. Let me go ahead and stop the radar so we can show it what's happening right now. So generally speaking, we've got snow showers that are increasing pretty much area-wide. Quick point, if you're watching us from Crossville or Jamestown, or you're looking back there and say, well, I know that was the lower snow amounts, but that's not what I'm talking about right here. You might think, why is it not snowing there? It looked like it was, it is snowing there. Quick point, let me go back to this other wider radar. Quick point, it all depends on radar placement. There's a radar we use in Jackson, Kentucky. These are the National Weather Service radar. A radar in Nashville, Old Hickory, actually. High Top, Northeast Alabama. And of course, Morristown, technically Alpha in the west end of Hamlin County. So what we're looking at right here is called a composite radar. So it's all those main radars and any other ones in Atlanta, Greenville, Spartanburg. Again, those chime in as well. But it's a composite of all those radars. Well, if you look at the plateau, I'll just put my finger right there. There's a radar here, there, up in Kentucky, and here. They're kind of right in that middle ground where they're furthest away from all those radars. None of the radars, there's overlapping, but by the time the radar beam overlaps, it's shooting over the cloud tops and over the snow bands, I should say, in many cases. Especially snow is a lower elevation precipitation event. Now, when you get thunderstorms, they go high, so radar beam sees it good. So when we're talking about severe weather, that's all good. But when we're talking about snow, if you've ever seen that on radar and wondered, why is it not snowing in Crossville? It is snowing. The radar beam is shooting over the snow and not seeing it. It's that simple. So it's just a distance thing. They can't put radars everywhere. They're land-based, and again, you have to have the space and proximity and the right conditions. So that's how that works. Okay, so it is snowing on the plateau, and they have their ground covered as well. And many roads, again, as we've been talking, they're probably starting to stick. You can check out see your neighborhood, your sidewalk may be starting to get covered, your driveway partially covered, your street may be still wet, but check again in an hour or two. It's probably going to be getting covered as temperatures drop. So here's a look at our radar. Boy, it's snowing, coming down in Morristown and Dandridge. Remember those eastern areas with the higher snowfall? It has begun. And that's just another example of the lift. Greene County, we were getting some reports in Bluff City and seeing some of the TDOT cameras even earlier this afternoon where the ground and even some roads were getting covered. So some of that heavier snow is definitely working its way in from upper East Tennessee and coming on into especially the Lakeway area. So there's east of you in Greenville, that's some heavy snow. And where you see the darker blue, that's the heavier snow. See the legend up here? So that's what we're looking at right now. La Follette, Campbell County, heavier snow, Dandridge, Tazewell, Morristown, Lakeway area, Cherokee Lake and Douglas Lake, and Knox County. Even where the radar's not showing it snowing as much, it's the very tiny flakes. So snow is, the lighter it is, it's harder to pick up on radar. It's just the snowflake size. It's not like a big fat raindrop, right, where the radar sees it and it paints a color. The bigger the droplet, the bigger the flake. So it's still snowing, maybe just some tiny flakes. But that's what we're seeing right now, and there's a look at the radar loop. So more of these snow showers, they're expected to continue to fill in. Let me show you the futurecast. This is one of our high-res models, and here we are right now, the snow showers. So there we go to midnight tonight, and you can kind of see some of that snow is going to be circulating, kind of not literally like that counterclockwise, but it's going to be kind of pinwheeling around and going from northeast to southwest and then back, because that low pressure's to our south, down in, to our south and southeast, and everything's going to kind of be spinning around like this. And so that's why the eastern areas are going to be under the heavier snow band for longer periods of time. That's why they have the heaviest snow placement with the low pressure. All right, there we are from midnight to 2 a.m. Again, where you see the darker blues, let me take it full so you can see that a little bit easier. That's where we're going to be seeing the heavier snow. This is Saturday, 2 a.m. tonight. And so winter storm warning, again, is going to continue through tomorrow evening, and that cold weather advisory will continue as well into tomorrow. So that's what we're seeing with those scattered snow showers. Now, I'll just let me stop this because it's going to play on through. As we go through, there's our Saturday morning. So we still got the snow bands continuing. Most areas, again, kind of see, look at Knoxville. It's still, and let me come back out so I can point that out. You see that edge kind of? It could still be lightly snowing west of it, but that's one of the main reasons Matter of fact, here's what's interesting. Remember the contour I showed you? I'll show you again in a minute so we can recap that before we conclude. But this is the same model with its snow depiction as I showed you on the snowfall mount. So we're seeing the same thing, the predicted snowfall forecast of what it's showing and that same amount. So that model is showing that gradient along the Anderson-Knox County line, that western areas, lighter amounts in general, maybe a couple inches or so, we'll see how that shakes out, versus much more East Knox County and especially blunt, severe parts of Jefferson and Cocke counties. And this is just one point in time. But again, that's what we're looking at. As you go south and east of Knoxville, noticeably higher amounts of snow expected, and including Dandridge and Morristown as well. Is that as far out as that model went? I think it is. I just want to make sure. Apologies. Just want to make sure I went as far out. That's the high res. Yeah, that's as far out on that one. Actually, I could go to the longer range because we're streaming. We can do things like this. So let me back it up here. I just wanted to show you. And this isn't the high res, this is more the medium res. So there we go. We got it. So about noontime, it's got it moving toward the mountains. So it's roughly late morning, early afternoon, around midday. So I'll just let that play on through. Notice it's still snowing in the mountains through tomorrow evening. And we could have flurries, dandruff, so to speak, just being squeezed out of the clouds. Probably going to see some flurries. Bitterly cold, again, throughout the day tomorrow. There's our partial clearing. Now the good news Sunday, we'll see some sunshine and we'll need it. Highs in the mid-20s. And then just looking at that, play on through. Okay, so that takes care of our future cast. All right. Again, thanks for hanging. I'm going to conclude and wrap up, but I just wanted to show you some of these different details. We'll get to that forecast. I'll show you that snowfall map one more time, and then we'll wrap it up. And I hope you're enjoying your evening now. We'll continue to do so. Let me show you the colder air, because there it is. That's the cold Arctic air that stretches from the Dakotas right down into Kansas, Oklahoma, and then this is where it is so far. Again, it's still kind of up to our north. I mean, it's 24 in Memphis, so it's kind of coming there. It's oozing. Cold Arctic air is heavy and dense, more dense, so it kind of oozes on down, and it's making its way all the way to Raleigh. So it's still north of us, but I wanted to show you this because it's coming southward. And so that's what we're looking at right now. This low pressure, you got the upper low is back in here. It's actually an elongated trough, and it's going to pivot just like that. And you've got a surface low that's starting to develop in the Gulf. But everything, if you look at it, it's kind of innocuous right now. It's all driven by upper level troughing right now. It's no surface main low developing. Well, it's developing, but it's not developed yet. It's going to crank on the eastern seaboard. They're going to see near blizzard conditions in the coastal areas. Do you have family and friends in South Carolina, in the coastal South Carolina, North Carolina? Do you go to the beaches in South Carolina, North Carolina for your vacation spot? I do. And I've never personally seen it snow on the beach. I haven't been down there in the heart of winter. I've been here in East Tennessee watching our weather. But it's going to snow on the beaches. They're going to get near blizzard conditions, especially as you get up into coastal and eastern North Carolina and inland, actually. Greenville, North Carolina, Wilmington, Outer Banks, Kitty Hawk, again, Ocracoke, and then on up to Norfolk, Virginia. This low pressure is really going to intensify. So let's talk about that, and we'll show you that. Again, our weather, snow showers with the upper low will continue tonight. Again, we showed you the local view, so that's with us through about midday tomorrow. There's 10:30 tomorrow morning. The back edge will pull out by midday into the afternoon, except for the mountains. There's a look at this storm starting to really crank as we get on the eastern seaboard, and look at that. Those are some intense snowfall rates. There you go. It's going to snow in Charleston. I think I talked to somebody today. I think they got a couple inches in their forecast. Mount Pleasant, Sullivan's Island, Allendale, McClellanville. I'm from South Carolina, so I know some of these areas pretty well. Georgetown County, Horry County, Litchfield, Pawleys Island, Myrtle's Inlet, Myrtle Beach, they're all going to get snow. Wilmington, it's going to snow heavy up into North Carolina and Outer Banks. Whew, wind. There's forecasts of near blizzard conditions in eastern and coastal areas of the Carolinas, and especially North Carolina up into Virginia. Now, this main system looks like it will continue going more out to sea. A lot of times these coastal lows want to hug the coastline. It's just the way the upper level trough is. It's going to kind of have to kick it on out to sea. So it won't impact the northeast quite as much as it normally would. You can kind of see the overall snowfall forecast doesn't quite get up to DC. So in general. So it's mainly a Virginia and Carolinas back into the southern Appalachian storm and on up in Kentucky and West Virginia, et cetera. So that, I just wanted to show the regional view. You see, here's our mountains. Remember we showed the 6 to 12 inches plus? Okay, because that could be a foot in our mountains, Smokies. Well, look at this, east of Charlotte. Oh, there's a 10 to 12 inch is possible. Look at that, far eastern North Carolina. And again, North Carolina's a long state. They're going to get a lot of snow. It's going to snow all across North Carolina, for the whole state of North Carolina and the whole state of South Carolina. And I guess pretty much the whole state of Virginia. Well, I don't know about the whole state, maybe not northern areas. But that's kind of an interesting little tidbit. You don't see that very often where it snows across the whole state. Not quite Georgia. Atlanta, looks like Athens. If you've been down to Athens for a Tennessee-Georgia game, et cetera, you know the city of Athens, they're going to get a decent snow. And up Interstate 85, Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney, it's my hometown, Big Peach, and up towards Charlotte. So along the I-85 corridor, yeah, that's going to be some heavy snow. It's not going to be pretty on the interstates. And that's what we're looking at for them. All right, so here's a look at, let's wind it up. Our forecast tonight, snow likely, winter storm warning continues, 18. Do not get out on the roads if you don't have to. Snow likely in the morning, tapering by afternoon, 20 for the high. Winter storm warning continues into tomorrow evening. And here's your 7-day. Again, we're looking at the weather impact alert continuing through Monday morning, single-digit lows, below zero wind chills, especially as we go later tomorrow night, Sunday morning. And then a frigid start to Monday. Anything that falls will have a chance to stick on the ground and hang around, number one, but also help to refreeze. Of course, we're not getting above freezing until Monday afternoon. So we went below freezing about 7 this Friday evening, roughly at it. And then we won't warm back up till almost 72 hours later. That's pretty impressive. So we need to drip the faucets. Again, while you're enjoying the snow or enjoying your weekend, staying warm and avoiding the cold or maybe playing snow, don't forget, I got to remind myself too, drip the faucets, especially starting tomorrow night. After staying cold and below freezing, we'll need to do that. It's usually after a couple of days and nights, those pipes could start freezing. So especially tomorrow night, and again, especially Sunday night, Monday morning. And then we'll thaw out. We'll get into the 40s by midweek. There is another system that could give us a rain to snow mixture later, anywhere from Tuesday night to Wednesday night. Models are different on the timing. Again, we'll focus more on that later. It doesn't look super impactful right now, but it could give us a little rain snow mix. And then we'll talk about next weekend later as one model. Something about that weekends, right? So we'll see. We'll focus on that later. I know if you're out there saying, why on the weekend? And we hear you. But weekend, Ms. John Becker reminded me, perhaps it's the best time with the least amount of impact. Except for you, if you're watching this and you're a teacher, I hear you. My wife was a teacher. We know. These need to come during the week, don't they? All right, so here's a look at our potential snowfall. I just want to show you this one more time of, again, the gradient of potential of anywhere from 2 to 5 inches across Knoxville. That's the range that's expected. But you get east of Knoxville, it's 4 to 7 and 5 to 7 plus. Could have some 8-inch snowfall amounts from Morristown down to Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, and Wears Valley and Townsend, and 6 to 12 in the mountains. 1 to 2 back toward the plateau and up in northern areas. Maybe a few isolated 3-inch amounts, but just less snowfall in general across the western half of the region. More snowfall expected, especially to the east and just southeast of Knoxville. And here's why, and well, that's why because of the duration, but here's the alerts. Again, just to summarize, we are looking at a winter storm warning that will go until Saturday evening for Knoxville east and to the north and south, and a winter weather advisory for hazardous travel possible. And the advisory hazard travel is likely and expected in the warning zone. Okay, that's it for now. Time to get some water, go take a dinner break. I hope you enjoy your dinner if you haven't done so yet. Again, stay safe, stay warm, enjoy the snow, but stay warm and bundle up if you have to go out and about in it. If you don't have to get out and drive in it, again, it's recommended not to. And again, be sure to bundle up when you head outside. We'll have another update later on tonight, and we'll keep you updated tonight and throughout the weekend. Keep it right here. Thank you for joining us, and have a blessed night.